Yes, I want to talk a bit about more about Abwaab and in education in general.
Mhm.
Okay, education going into the future in general. So tell me a bit now more specifically about what you guys are doing in Abwaab. Like, what does Abwaab do?
Mhm. Sure. So basically, when we looked at the Arab world, there are like 100 million students, and it's just a huge market that's really been unserved. And there is so much dependency on after-school tutoring. Much of the family income in middle and lower class families goes to tutoring, especially in the
How
final
come though?
years.
Sorry, I just like want to know
How come what?
tutoring. Like, why the level is not enough, or is that a cultural thing? Or
I think in general, public schools aren't that great. Um, I don't still have a full visibility on all of the countries, but in many of the countries we know that public schools aren't that great. We have public schools in remote areas that are like really kind of neglected, with specific teachers coming in once a week or twice a week to finish the whole week's kind of worth of lessons because of the distance, having to travel to that village or to that remote area. Just the quality of teachers and how much we pay teachers and that whole thing has resulted in just a very deteriorated, education system, and that's been the case for many many years. And it's been there is no any when the internet first came out, it was called the Great Equalizer,
yeah,
where it kind of like neutralizes and equalizes opportunities to all people. And I felt we've kind of democratized transportation, where you're not restricted to just this like, taxi who got this permit, who is forced to pay you this bill, and it's not it's static, it's not dynamic. And I saw how much transportation was shifted and upgraded with the power of technology within just a few 3 4 years, 2 3 years even. And I felt, my co-founder and I, we felt like, if you could take that and have it, introduced into education, the impact could be just tremendous. Kareem's mission was to improve the lives of people, and if you really want to improve the lives of not only people but generations to come, then the biggest gift to give them is proper education. And to, instead of having to pay the average cost of a 1 hour session with a tutor in Jordan is $30 to $100. And instead of having to pay that to one teacher for 1 hour, if with the economies of scale, if you create good enough content and then you sell it to hundreds of thousands of students, you can sell it for as low as $10 for the whole year for all subjects.
oh,
And that I was just passionate about that, and I felt if we can help students, give equal opportunities to students not that are born into rich families and go to good schools to get the best education, but rather give that great education to everyone and keep it on the child and on the family's burden to make the best out of it. And that excited me and drove me into Abwaab.
that's really interesting. Like, obviously I'm familiar with EdTech, but I never, my experience with education in Lebanon, a lot of it is private, so you don't have to be rich to go to private school, although they are very expensive. It's in varying degrees of expense, but a lot of families sacrifice a lot to get their children into good private schools. So obviously, it's still a minority relative to what's happened at the size of the country and the total percentage. But I never thought of it uh, in that sense, sort of just getting quality education to, let's say, rural areas which only have access to public schools and a couple of teachers, although they may try, probably not giving the best quality uh, uh, out there. Um, so is that sort of, did you start with that in mind as a problem, kind of more specific Jordanian problem of what you saw, or were you thinking like outwardly,
Yeah.
like the world? What was the thing that
So not
got
the
you?
word, but the region.
Yeah.
Definitely the region. I think just look around us. Yani, it's a troubled region. If it's not political, it's economical. If it's not economical, it's other issues. It's just been very unstable. You have so many places with conflict and challenges getting to school. And being able to do this across the region, which is what Kareem was able to do, is definitely where the vision and the mission